Okay, let's get into this movie. So if you're a regular listener to this podcast, we've talked about the production of this movie a lot and how it's been bananas. Which is, I mean, we talked about 6 months ago how they completely recast the film, which leads to one of two outcomes. Either they have to then reanimate large chunks of it because the way that animation works typically is that you do the voice acting and then sync the animation up to the voice.
Or at least in the American style.
Yeah. Or they would have to do a dubbing style and have the English voice actors match the lip sync to the animation of the previous English voice actors who had already recorded the entire movie.
Which is what Japan has been doing for a long time. Like, even Miyazaki films, they do the voice acting after the fact.
Yeah. Yeah, but like Pixar definitely. I remember I was watching the special features on the Monsters Inc. DVD, which is actually another thing we've talked about before. How that's the best DVD, the special features wise, that's the best DVD ever. Mm-hmm. Like that actually, it's better than Lord of the Rings. It's insane how much stuff they put on that DVD. It's not a Blu-ray; it's a DVD, and that's
it's got like 3 discs.
Yeah, and that's where I first learned that that's how you do it, and it made a lot of sense because. I guess I always assumed you did it the other way around as a little kid. Like, Monsters, Inc. is an old-ass movie, to put this into perspective. So, clearly that was some sort of setback. And it showed in the trailers because early trailers had no dialogue in them.
Yeah.
And frankly, that matches the feel of the movie because it is a movie that's more emotional and less story-driven. But still, you could tell it's like, oh, they had very little ready to go for this movie that comes out very soon. And like, they changed directors and writers and the script was like thrown out and redone and a bunch of other stuff. I can't remember the specifics, but the kind of stuff that normally means, oh, this movie's gonna be a mess at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie is not a mess. It is, as we said at the top, very good, especially for what it is. And I think part of why I was able to survive that is that the final project is narratively not very ambitious.
No.
It's a very basic story, told very well. But yeah, like...
with the best visuals.
Yeah, the most gorgeous movie they've done. This outdoes WALL-E.
Oh, because it's all landscape.
Yeah.
It's all landscape with almost jarringly cartoony dinosaurs in this photorealistic landscape.
Yeah, that was the first thing I got from the trailers is like that guy, he looks like he's green screened in.
Yeah.
One thing that I really liked though is as we actually saw the movie, we saw how like inconvenient his stupid cartoon body was to move around in this world. Like he was constantly like falling and tripping and unable to get a grip on anything because his body just wasn't built for this hyper-realistic world.
This dinosaur gets beat to fuck.
This is like the Tomb Raider reboot.
Yeah!
It's very intense. But like like just watching him like try to crawl up this like crag with his stupid giant elephant feet, and he's just like, oh no, like
he's got soft squishy with knobby shaky knees that shouldn't be able to support his bulk.
I mean, it does sort of support the idea that they eventually settled that making nature sort of the closest thing to an antagonist, where like nature is he's literally not built for nature.
Yeah, you shouldn't be alive.
Yeah, he really shouldn't. But I'm
Is
glad
this the first Pixar movie with no out-and-out villain? No, Inside Out didn't really have one either.
Not really.
Unless you count the all-too-real villain of emotional depression.
Of puberty.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like Dumbo, and like Dumbo is their first movie to not have a villain, where the villain, quote-unquote, is every human ever.
Yeah.
And also all the other animals. In the circus.
Except for the mouse.
Okay, so since Nikki sort of recapped the production stuff, do we want to go into it more deeply, or do we just
maybe just like a bullet point list of all the shit that happened? Just like
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking over Nina's shoulder at the section on Wikipedia about production, and it's long.
Oof. Yeah, so I'm gonna break this up, okay. Bob Peterson and Peter Sohn started working on the film in 2009. It was Peterson's idea. You know, they were bouncing off release dates. Originally, they were going to have it released in 2013. You know, they announced all this shit on D23 Expo. The original, you know, working titles, permanent title, what have you.
And that's why we had 2 Pixar movies this year, is because this was supposed to come out a while ago. And this is when they could get it finished. And it still barely happened.
2012, Lasseter sort of gave some details. He says, they are kind of cartoony, but they are dinosaurs. They're not walking around with clothes on or anything like that. They're still kind of dinosaurs. We focus mostly on the plant eaters, not the carnivores. Their society becomes more of an agrarian society, meaning farmers. It's a very funny story about a certain way of life that a young dinosaur has trouble fitting into, and he ends up going on this quest. He kind of messes up, and he has to put everything right by going on this quest. And on that quest, he meets this character that is an outcast from his society too, and so the two of them form this bond, and it becomes this unique kind of story. So a little different than what we ended up actually getting.
Yeah, this one, they make the absolutely necessary decision to not expand on this world and present it in a way that doesn't make us think about it. Unlike Cars, where every goddamn scene you go, why and how? This is a world of just cars. There's too many questions that don't need to be asked in this film. But like the dinosaurs, it's like, you never see any civilization. It's all, this is their frontier folk. You where the kind you live in a log cabin and you go like 2 years without speaking to another human being outside of your immediate family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There actually were a few things like that wouldn't work. Like that we see them farming and they all have all these tools, but like how did they make these tools without thumbs?
They must have bought them from dinosaurs.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. They bought them.
Like the raptors looked pretty dexterous.
Yeah,
like their house is pretty simple. That the silo made of stone that their dad built is pretty whatever simple. It's just a bunch of stones stacked on top of each other.
But like, there's that seed mechanism where like they put it on the back and it jangles around.
Yeah, and again, like that's I assumed that like they probably bought that from the store because it's rudimentary enough for a smaller dinosaur with some like maybe an iguanodon.
Yeah,
could have fastened it with his fingers. They have finger-like things, handy hands.
They have phalanges.
And you'd think, like, one thing I noticed, like, early in the movie, actually, is, like, there was a potential here for some hard sci-fi that they just were not interested in doing.
Nope.
Because, like, keep in mind, this is still millions of years after the dinosaurs would have died out, so they would have... millions are a lot of years, so they seemingly would have evolved physically to, like, so maybe some other dinosaurs do, like, have very high dexterity. We don't know. We see very few dinosaurs in this dinosaur movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, none of the dinosaurs aren't feathered in this movie, which is of course a big deal with paleontologists, which... I
mean, the raptors have some feathers, but not as much as they're supposed to, and the T-Rexes don't have any.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like, are they... what the current, paleontological model is if all dinosaurs had feathers, I think it was just most of them. And like, I know
the problem is there's
every
no way to
modern
know.
Drawing of that stuff doesn't fossilize.
And I don't think that like Apatosaur that's what Arlo's family is, and they're from a different family of dinosaurs.
Yeah, I actually haven't seen like drawings of herbivorous dinosaurs with feathers. It's always like carnivores. It's always like T-Rexes or different kinds of raptors and everything. But like, those were officially velociraptors and they were too big to be velociraptors. But that's also like common dinosaur movie wrong shit. Like again, with Jurassic Park. Those are like 30 times too big to be velociraptors. Velociraptors are tiny and shitty. There are bigger raptors, like the Utah raptors kind of biggish, like kind of man-sized.
They didn't discover the Utah raptor till after that film came out, though.
That's also the thing.
That's the thing, like, it's constantly evolving. It's really hard to keep up.
Because they're just bones, and we don't know.
Yeah.
They could be anything. There could be any amount of thickness of meat on those bones. We just don't fucking know what they look like. We never will.
The filmmakers wanted to explore what dinosaurs represent today and how they are represented in stereotypes. And Peterson said, "It's time to do a movie where you get to know the dinosaur. What it's really like to be a dinosaur. And to be with a dinosaur." I'm pretty sure they've done movies like that before.
Yeah, that's kind of...
That's presumptuous.
That was Land Before Time.
Yeah,
Like, they actually... Yeah. And he was inspired to do the movie from a visit to the 1964 New York World's Fair, where he was impressed by some dinosaur audio animatronics, which is pretty cool. Alright. So, we have, like, some stuff that later, they're working on Arlo as his character. The title of the film is supposed to be sort of deceptively simple, according to Sohn. He explains that Arlo has a lot of issues when he's born. He's fearful, and he's weak, and he's disconnected from his family because of these issues, and he feels like he's not worthy. So he finds a way to become worthy. And that all stays in the film that we ended up getting. Then the release date got shifted into 2014, and they had a whole cast of people, including Lucas Neff, John Lithgow, Frances McDormand, Neil Patrick Harris, Judy Greer, and Bill Hader.
Which is a much bigger name cast than what they eventually went with. I mean, all those people except Frances McDormand stuck around, but like
she was the only one.
Yeah, the only like big name person they got for the final film is of course Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but by 2013, the director and the producer had been removed from the film because there were some story problems. Apparently, Peterson just couldn't figure out what to do with the third act. And, there wasn't any, like, ill will or anything. It's just they needed somebody who could finish the thing, and he just really couldn't seem to do it.
You do it. Someone else. Bye.
Yeah, he moved to another project, and then Denise Ream, was replaced as the director for a small time. Or replaced the producer, rather. I don't know. But then I think she ended up leaving. Let's see. It was pushed back even farther to release what was originally going to be the release date for Finding Dory, which also got pushed back. Apparently the whole reason for all this rescheduling and shifting around was that the story was not working, period, full stop. It's just not where it needed to be. However, due to the delay, Pixar had to lay off 67 employees off of its 1,200 person workforce.
Yikes.
Which followed the closure of Pixar Canada a month before, when about 80 employees had been laid off officially to refocus Pixar's efforts in California in its main headquarters. So there were scars, definitely. It had an impact on people. And then in 2015, when we covered the story, it was announced that the cast had been revised. The only person who came back was McDormand, as we said earlier. And we just got a whole new cast. Apparently, the reason for this was because it was about finding a younger Arlo. They wanted Arlo to be like a boy, so they could push into the idea of him growing up and becoming a man.
I feel like that was a good decision for this. Like, seeing the film now, it's like, yeah, I was anticipating in my head like an older Arlo, and then it didn't happen, and I was like, oh, like we're doing this now. There's not going to be another time skip where he's a little bit older. It's okay, fine. Like, and it worked really well, I thought.
I think it was good to keep him as a little kid because it really helped. It heightened the plight, and it made more sense for him to have these emotional problems. Being young and trying to figure these things out, and the emotions could be more raw and heartfelt, I think.
Yeah. The kid, Raymond Ochoa, is 14. He's also the current voice of Dash Parr in, like, Disney Infinity and stuff. That's actually one thing I was thinking about, because I saw the Finding Dory trailer again when I saw this, and I'm like, I wonder who they got voicing Nemo now, because it's been like 2 weeks in universe. It's been like 10 years. That kid's a grown-ass man now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I didn't I never thought about that.
Yeah, like, everybody else is returning, but Nemo's definitely someone else.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
Well, the other thing, I don't think any of us have seen that movie in a long time.
No. It's just on every household in America's DVD shelf, that's all. We just don't watch it.
Yeah, the original story was going to be kind of like a Billy Elliot kind of thing, where there was like this whole dinosaur culture,
Oof.
and Arlo's like repressed by the community. But they said that just didn't feel right. It didn't really resonate. It didn't make sense to what they were trying to do. So that's why they sort of went back, made Arlo a kid, revamped all the characters, changed most of everything.
Yeah, this is good. These are all good decisions. Because that, like, I think at the end of the day, because like this, it isn't to say that like when like that like wanting to change something mid production is bad. Like, that's not. You should absolutely, like, kill, like, the quote-unquote killing your darlings and wanting to do something better is, like, an absolute necessity of the process of creating a story or any kind of creative content. But when you're dealing with, in a multi-million-dollar industry that employs hundreds, if not thousands, and they need to put out content, it can be a hectic process. So it's, like, none of the development hell shit that happens to movies is usually indicative of, oh, well, I guess that movie was gonna suck, or oh man, that movie could have been good. It happens to every kind of movie.
Yeah. And this film has some technological advancements for CGI film. You know, they wanted to achieve this realistic sort of nature, so, you know, they did the typical Pixar thing and traveled to different places, like Jackson Hole, Wyoming, what am I saying? Like Jackson Hole, Wyoming, Ventura, Oregon, and Montana, to sort of get a feel for these landscapes like the Tetons and Yellowstone or whatever. But they used data from the U.S. Geological Survey and satellite image from Google Earth to sort of help create the, like, foundation for what they built up upon for the film. So they actually, like, transplanted data from these other sources into their computers to sort of build a basic start for the world. It was very cool. It's also the first Pixar film to feature three-dimensional volumetric clouds. Apparently in Pixar films previously, clouds had just kind of been painted onto sets, but they sort of like rendered these 3D cloud objects and, you know, played with and allowed them to play with the lighting more and have characters interact with them more and
do that scene where he threw him through the cloud.
Yeah. That's really awesome. Because I did like that's they were, that was an important touch to do. That's really cool.
Especially like the storm is a really important part of the film, and it keeps recurring. Like being able to render it exactly how you need it to be, just easier. It was very important. So, it looked amazing.
Yeah,
it looked absolutely amazing.
One thing that's interesting is that this movie's screenplay was, as far as I can tell, solely written by a woman named Meg LaFauve, who was also one of the 3 writers for Inside Out, so she's had a good year, and is also writing Captain Marvel.
Ooh.
Alongside another woman, Nicole Perlman.
I'm excited.
That's like going to be the next... I'm probably not going to see another one until that one or Black Panther.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 I'm interested in.
I'm really burnt out. I'm really burnt out.
It's gotten to the point where, like, I'm pretty sure it's, like, because burnt out implies that, you know, the flame will relight. I think I'm pretty fucking done.
Yeah.
I'm done, like, keeping up with everything. I'm more than content with just picking what I think is exceptional in this overblown heavy genre.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my friends are still really into it, so I might end up going to a lot of these movies just to...
Begrudgingly.
Just to go to a movie with friends, you know? 'Cause...
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I don't have that, though.
Not yet.
You don't have friends!
I'm the creepy theater phantom.
Yeah. Luckily, I have a younger sister. She's still 17, though, to go to this movie with.
Yeah, I went with friends on a friend's birthday, but it was actually just us, a couple in front of us, and one dude randomly behind us who laughed at every joke. And it was really fun because it made it more acceptable to laugh. Because
Well-
if you're in an empty theater and, like, I don't know, it feels weird to laugh.
That's weird.
I love being in an empty theater. I've
yeah.
never been in one. It's
Yeah,
always
you get-
one other person.
When you're in an empty theater, you get to riff on the trailers, which is my favorite. Speaking of which, like we talked about a lot of the upcoming trailers when we talked about Peanuts. There's not that much new there. The new trailer for Zootopia, did you get that one?
The one with the sloth? Yeah.
So good.
That was
That's
a really
pretty
good
great.
trailer, because it doesn't tell you everything about the movie.
But but it's just a scene from the movie, so it gives you the tone of what the movie's gonna be like.
Yeah.
And it was great.
That's
And,
like classic Pixar stuff. Like, that was really...
well, a lot of the classic Pixar stuff, those scenes weren't in the movie, but it's like if they were. Like, actually, the Finding Nemo one was a modified version
We
of
don't
that.
even know if the sloth scene is going to be in the movie.
The sloth character is.
Yeah.
That bit where his face...
Did you guys get the exact opposite kind of trailer? Like, did you guys get a trailer for a movie that was super fucking atrocious on every conceivable level called Norm of the North?
Yes.
Yeah, I got that when I went to see the Peanuts movie, and you guys were like, I didn't get that. I don't know what you're talking about. And I wanted to talk about...
Who blew who to get that a theater release? That is a grocery store shelf at checkout DVD at best.
Yeah,
It looks awful.
Like when someone says that looks awful for a movie, we mean like the animation is bad, the models are lazy.
Yeah.
Everything's bad.
It looks like the first Madagascar.
It looks worse than the first Madagascar.
Yeah, it looks worse than the first Madagascar.
And the first Madagascar, I remember seeing trailers of that. It's like, is that the finished animation? There's not enough polygons. It's a movie, and I shouldn't be able to see polygons.
This looks like the like foreign ripoff pulling a fast one on you version of a film that doesn't exist.
Yeah, like maybe Penguins in Madagascar, but they didn't get the whole thing. There was luckily we didn't have to see goddamn Angry Birds.
I did.
Lucky me's.
I did get to see Ratchet and Clank. I didn't see that in Peanuts.
I didn't see that.
Did you see the one with the stork?
No.
That's is a teaser trailer for this movie called Storks. It was a pretty fun teaser. It's about like the industry of storks delivering babies, which is an interesting idea for a movie.
Yeah, totally.
And what else?
A world without sex.
Yeah. Was there anything else? I don't remember. But yeah, that Zootopia thing, I mean, the Fox was he was actually making the face through the entire fucking trailer, which was bad, but the rest of the movie looks pretty good.
I like that at the very end they come out and like, it's nighttime, and I went, I guess that film takes place like now, this time of year then.
Yeah.
Yeah, my God.
It must be 4:30.
Yeah, but man, that shot of his face slowly lighting up before he starts to laugh.
Yeah, that's what kills the theater
that
always.
was the money shot. The money of that trailer is great. And let's actually take a break to talk about Sanjay's Super Team.
Yeah.
I mean, this one made up for the fucking dumb shit that was Lava. This one was one of their best.
This is an astounding short. Like,
I loved
it's almost worth just to see this short, but thankfully Good Dinosaur is also a pretty fun time too. This short is amazing.
Can I just say, like, I was in a small theater, like their smaller theater with like a handful of tired parents who were like all like mostly just like looked very suburban and white. The whole time I was dreading somebody like muttering something due to the current state of events in the country. I was just like, so I still managed to enjoy it, but that was always in the back of my head, like, nope, everybody shut up and be cool. Everybody be cool.
I was just in awe, like...
Oh yeah, it's great.
It was so cool. So, we've talked about it a little bit before. It's directed by Sanjay Patel. It's sort of like a semi-autobiographical story about, like, him and his relationship between his dad and, like, Hindu traditions and also, like, being a boy in America and having those sort of modern Western ideals thrust upon him and sort of finding a balance between these two things. And it's also very funny. I didn't expect it to be very funny, but, like, there was something, like, very relatable about, like, the dad's praying, and then, he's trying to watch his cartoons, and then the dad drags him over, and, like, just his all of Sanjay's, like, facial expressions and, like, like, with the bell and everything, I don't know, I sympathized. I remember those moments as a kid as well. But then also the guilt.
Yeah.
Definitely the guilt, as well as being like, oh shit, I'm a bad child.
I'm a bad dinosaur.
So yeah, and then he goes into, like, a fantasy world in the middle of this prayer where he imagines, Ravana comes to life and sort of is causing chaos among this chamber. And then Vishnu, Durga, and Hanuman, sort of forms, like, a version of the cartoon that he was watching earlier, but they're way cooler because their powers are awesome. Like, holy fuck, when Vishnu was, like, dodging, and his arms were, like...
Yeah, he was like, blocking all the shit with his crazy arms. I was like, yeah!
This was oh my god, it was so cool!
I really like the symbolism of the many arms in Hinduism, because it's a very instantly communicative way to show that they're more powerful and capable than people, because they can physically do more stuff.
Yeah.
That's great iconography.
And, like, it doesn't have to make sense. The arms are just behind them, appearing like it's some sort of Who's Line skit with 100 people.
Yeah.
And it was also very beautiful. Like, it was a fight scene, but there was also, like, a pacifist undertone throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
That was really cool, because they weren't trying to, like, kill Ravana. They were just trying to, like, calm the dude down, because he was mad. And, like, the symbolism with the bell, and, like, I don't know, it was just very, very pretty and very well done. And it had such a sweet ending. Like, it was so cute. Like, it was the cutest.
Yeah.
And then, we got our, like, picture of, like, Sanjay and his father when he was a kid, and then, like, today, and it was, like, really cute. And it's just adorable. It's lovely, Like, Sanjay said that he felt deeply the absence of anyone who looked like him in films and television, and his goal was to bring a young brown boy's story to the pop culture zeitgeist. And I think he accomplished it pretty perfectly. Like, it's very relatable. Like, even if you're not Indian and you're not familiar with any of these people or these gods or beliefs, like, you understand, like, that sort of distance between, like, your modern whatever kids stuff and, like, the stuff that your parents used to do, or your grandparents,
I mean, our mother is an immigrant. She, was not born in America. There's some stuff I think we may have talked about a bit, our unwillingness as kids, as shitty kids, to embrace that, and now as adults we love it.
Yeah, like, as kids you don't want to be different. You think it's weird. None of the other kids do it. So you're like, why do I have to do this? I want to watch my show and play with my toy and wear my feety pajamas or whatever. And there is that resistance that's sort of built in because of that, but it's really cool to sort of see it all put together on, like, a nice, concise short film.
Without dialogue.
Without any dialogue.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do any of the theatrical Pixar short films have dialogue? The Jackalope one did.
Yeah.
The Jackalope one did. Lava did, but that one sucked. Yeah, but most of them don't. Like, obviously, the ones they put on the, Actually, I'm trying to... Anyway.
Yeah, apparently the setting was inspired by the Lido Motel on Route 66, which is a motel that his parents bought and worked at when he was a child, so that's kind of neat. Because I was kind of curious about the room setup. I was like, what kind of house is that? And I'm like, oh, okay. It's a motel. They lived in the motel that they worked at. But yeah, this is amazing. I can't wait to see more from Sanjay Patel. Like, him as a director.
Oh god, if he gets his hands on a feature, it's gonna be something special.
Yeah. I mean, he worked... I saw his name show up in the credits of The Good Dinosaur.
Yeah, no, he's working on Pixar stuff.
Yeah, I just meant, like, as leading in it and something.
I think this definitely proves that he is more than capable of doing that, and I very much would love to see it.
Give him something, Pix. Hey, Pix. Come on. Do it.
Alright, so yeah. So I guess moving back to the film itself.
Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are cute.
Dinosaurs.
They're basically elephants, but green.
Green elephants. They're on parade.
Speaking of which, there was sort of a pink elephant scene in this
Yeah,
movie.
like this film, like that was the second thing where I was like, how did they, come on, what?
I kind of like that it was very short.
Yeah,
They could
like
have gone
obviously-
longer. They could have gone like the pink elephants scene itself, which was like 10 minutes long. It was very short. It kind of didn't do anything, but it was fine. I think by being short, it was
fruit and trip balls, and I was like, are we doing this? Okay, that's
I don't know.
fine.
I thought it was funny. And
No, it was.
it was very funny because they're like little kids, so they don't even know what they're doing, and they're like, "Yeah!" And then it was over, and they were so hungover, and it was hilarious. But yeah. Let's see here. So,
one thing that was interesting is we mentioned this a bit earlier. The focus on a very rustic setting, like
yeah, it's like it's a western.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going to be a western.
it absolutely is. You know, our main family, they're farmers, and then there's the other family of ranchers, and then everybody has a southern accent except for Arlo.
Yeah, he's special.
Everybody's got a very homey accent. You know, and then like, you know, the heart of the movie, of course, is a relationship between Arlo and Spot, the human kid.
The human dog boy.
Yeah, because that's what they said. It's a boy and his dog movie, but the boy is a dinosaur and the dog is a boy. And I think it was very interesting them balancing the fact that he's a wild animal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, an extremely intelligent wild animal.
Yeah.
It's a wild animal who like breaks into his house and steals his food. It's more like a boy and his raccoon. Because raccoons have little fingers.
Yeah.
Little fingers.
The body language on Spot was really good.
Spot was my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything about him was my favorite.
Because like there's a lot of times when they made him like a dog, but I like that he also transcended that. He was also a person.
Yeah. He very much felt like a human being, just one that didn't know how to talk.
Like
Yeah.
like a feral human.
Yeah. Yeah, but he absolutely had that kind of capacity.
And he was smart, you know, with that conversation by the riverbank is like my favorite part of the movie. It's so
yeah,
beautiful.
I was crying.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. Like, it was so well done. 'Cause, like, I wasn't quite sure how I was feeling, like, the farm, and, like, Pa, and Ma, and Buck, and whoever.
Libby.
I was just like, okay, you know, this is Pa on the farm, and I need to impress my Pa, and they have chickens for some reason, and...
I like those nasty ass chickens.
What did they evolve from?
Isn't that even more upsetting though? Because the chickens are also dinosaurs.
No, they're not. They're proto birds. They're still like, I mean, like they probably evolved from pterosaurs. Like you know, there was Archaeopteryx, which was like some kind of it was more bird-like than even the dinosaurs were, but it was still like had teeth and shit.
Yeah, I guess maybe. I don't know.
It seemed kind of
also
close.
like I never know which dinosaurs actually coexisted, because some dinosaurs that people put in media a lot together in the same place are like millions of years apart.
Utterly
Yeah.
million. Like there was mass extinctions in between those kinds of dinosaurs.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Like, I think, like, for example, only one dinosaur featured in the first Jurassic Park was actually in the Jurassic era.
Yeah.
So, no, like, I know T-Rex is Cretaceous, and beyond that, I can't tell you.
I guess Cretaceous Park just wasn't as marketable.
Well, the most accurate would be Mesozoic Park.
And that's just, you can't call something that.
Nikki used to really like dinosaurs when he was a baby boo.
So did I, everybody.
Yeah, but
Almost.
Nikki, like, actually read dinosaur books and memorized their names and their periods and biology and stuff.
Yeah.
Ah.
I think, like, Stegosaurus and, like, Triceratops, like, there's obviously a lot of dinosaurs that look like Triceratops, but actualized Triceratops, those were all Cretaceous. And Cretaceous was the last one. It was Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous.
Cool.
I'm spent.
Alright, that's our paleontology. That's as deep as we're gonna go, so...
It's deeper than the movie went.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, the whole family dynamic thing wasn't super working for me. I think it's just because we've seen it very frequently before.
Yeah.
It really wasn't until Arlo totally got separated from everything that I was a little bit more engaged.
Yeah, I think that, and that's the reason it worked, because it wasn't, the family thing wasn't the focal point. The family thing was the setup for his own self-growth.
Yeah.
And it very much took a backseat. Like, if you think about it, like, his family never even saw fucking Spot. Like,
No.
unless he tells them about Spot, he'll die being the only person that ever knew about Spot, I guess, and the rustlers, the T-Rex rustlers, he'll never see again.
And Spot's family.
They're
about
dogs, they don't matter.
No. Excuse me? Dogs matter the most. Hello?
Sure,
I meant in relation to petty human problems.
Okay. So yeah, like, all the other characters are very downplayed. I believe in earlier scripts they played more of a role because it was this very, like, man versus society thing. And they very much changed it to, like, man against nature, so it was like...
What's that song that's Two Against Nature?
I don't...
He says what the movie was.
Yeah, it is. Two Against Nature.
I hope that's...
You know, like, they try to build up the dad so we can feel sad when he dies.
That was Steely Dan. That's how I know. Our dad loves Steely Dan.
Yeah. And I do have to admit, he had a very brutal death. We haven't seen a Disney death like that in a long time.
That was basically on screen. I saw him die.
Yeah.
It was like rivaling, like, Mufasa in, like, how brutal and sudden it was.
Just got his neck snapped by a tidal wave.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have shattered all his bones.
All of his
And his neck has a
bones.
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many vertebrae.
It like shattered his C1 through C43.
I did think it was interesting that after the dad died, we returned back to the farm for a little bit to introduce Spot before Arlo got lost. Because I was under the impression Arlo was going to be separated after that incident. But we had a couple more steps to take before sort of the meat of the plot got going.
Oh, but if they didn't do that, then his entire life would have fallen apart, like, immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like, he needed to blame Spot for his dad's death in order for him to, like, go out and, like, get mad enough to accidentally fall into a goddamn river.
Yeah.
River, like, I knew in the beginning, it's like, his son's like, his dad's like, oh, watch out for the river, son. I'm like, okay, check off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, you know, he falls in the river. It's very scary. The water, I was drooling. I was literally drooling in my seat. The water was so good. And, you know, he gets stranded. Can't find the river. Finds Spot. They go through some things. He gets the shit kicked out of him. Like, it reminds me of, like, all those, like, nature books you had to read in school, like, My Side of the Mountain and, like, Hatchet and shit, where the kid's always, like, way too capable to take care of himself in the wild.
Yeah, that skips the whole point where the kid's like, just crying in the mud for 4 days.
Yeah.
Like, poor Arlo got his legs stuck in a rock.
Yeah, I was like, he got 147 hours right away!
Yeah, and he's just like, well, this is me now. This is my life.
Like overnight, like put yourself in that situation. Like you have to go to bed that night thinking, I sure hope a goddamn miracle happens and I don't have to crush my own leg off with a smaller rock.
He can't even do that. He doesn't have arms.
He could do it with his mouth.
His thumbs are too... his teeth are too flat to even chew his leg off.
Yeah, they're hurt.
It would take so long!
Oh my god.
Yeah, there's that bit where he brings him the bug, and Arlo's like, to eat. He's like, you gotta eat something, dumbo. Implicitly, obviously, you can't speak in the movie. And he's like, one of the things he brings him is a huge, gross bug. And Arlo's like, that bug is huge and gross. So he rips the head off so the clackety head isn't there anymore. He's like, okay, now eat it. And it's got like that bug thing that bugs do. Also, keep in mind, this bug is the size of the kid.
Yeah, it's a gigantic bug.
It's got that thing where it's like spongy foam that they have instead of blood that I hate.
The pussy stuff.
I cannot believe that this movie did that.
Yeah.
It was very sudden.
I was expecting, thank God they didn't. I was expecting, Arlo would be like, oh no, I don't want it. And, Spot just shrugs and then dives headfirst and starts going to town on it. And dives headfirst into the exoskeleton and eats it hollow.
He, sucks it out of the stump like an oyster.
Like a crawdad.
But he also gives him a realistic iguana to eat.
Yeah, that was just an iguana. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
And then some berries.
And then the berries, because, he's an apatosaurus. He doesn't eat
meats.
Aminals.
I was waiting for a joke where he eats the wrong berries and gets the shits.
Yeah, I thought that was originally what was going to happen when they finally found the berry tree, but no, apparently it was a fucking four-legged snake monster.
That I did like. It was a snake that was starting to evolve legs.
Yeah, and apparently only 2 days after the film's release, scientists actually found a skeleton of a four-legged snake called a tetrapodophis.
Oh, that's their Utah raptor then.
Yeah, this is their Utah raptor, where they essentially invented something that turns out it actually existed. I mean, we always suspected it existed, but we actually have, fossil proof of a snake with 4 legs now.
Now we can laugh at a real animal. Look at those shitty legs. What's it trying to do?
It was really cute, though, with his little legs like, bleh.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get ya.
He looked like Jafar.
Yeah.
That snake looked like Jafar. It was scary.
And then we run into whom I'm assuming children will like, the Styracosaurus.
Played by Peter Stone himself. I liked him.
Yeah, he was amusing. It really...
Yeah, he didn't overstay his welcome.
That was the other thing. It's like, he's talking about all his aminal friends. It's like, this is Killer, this is Destructor, or this is Dream Crusher, who protects me from unrealistic expectations. And then, he's going through, trying to name the dog, trying to name, Spot, and he's like, Myrtleator, Buttfucker, Violet, Trash Compactor.
Yeah. And the only other dinosaurs that, we meet are some pterosaurs, who are, I guess, the closest thing to
the Manson family.
Yeah. The film just calls them pterodactyls, but that's incorrect. They're various pterosaurs. I did some...
And they're not even dinosaurs.
No. And they have, this weird sort of religious culty thing where, they believe that the storm is like a god, and they don't actually have to do any hunting because the storm will just kill a bunch of shit and then they can eat it.
Yeah.
It's a sound enough theory.
Yeah, that was another scary part of the movie is when he just eats that little lemur man.
It was a very cute little lemur.
Because at first you think he's like the sea turtle from Nemo. He's gonna be a friend.
Yeah, and you think there's some kind of rescue squad.
No.
Yeah.
Then they just eat shit, and then they fight amongst themselves, and then they try
terrifying. I was legitimately unnerved.
But spelled P-T-E-R-O-F-F-Y.
I was terrified.
Put that on our t-shirt. The good dinosaur. I was terrified. Yeah, and
there was a couple like very quick moments in this movie that were very scary.
Yeah, like those guys were very unsettling. And especially when they put you in the perspective of Spot, you know, he's a small human child, he's easy prey, you know, and it's like, oh wow, just the idea of something swooping down and grabbing you is a scary idea. But they get away, thankfully, thanks to the help of some T-Rexes, some ranchers, played by A.J. Buckley and Ann Paquin, and then Sam Elliott, who plays their father, who lost their herd
of longhorns, which are like some kind of prehistoric hoof beast.
They're buffalons.
Yeah. They're actually almost exactly buffalon, the
Yeah.
Pokemon.
And, you know, Spot tracks them down with his dog skill. They make friends.
They share stories of scars. And that was another thing. Sam Elliott's, the tooth that he has in his mouth, that's not his tooth.
Yeah.
That was so gross.
That was really gross.
I can also imagine Sam Elliott himself drowning a crocodile in his blood. He's very cool.
My favorite part about them was, because they're ranchers, they do the sort of like the horse gallop, but it works because they already have those stupid little arms.
Yeah.
So
They are their own horses.
Yeah, but see, they're galloping, but with two legs. And there's a word for that. It's skipping.
But it looked really cool.
Yeah. I theorized that the Tyrannosaurs in this movie did evolve longer arms because they weren't useless.
Yeah, they did use their arms.
They could
and stuff.
touch their face and shit with it instead of it being just absolutely crap. Because here's what T-Rex arms feel like. Just put your wrists up to your nipples and then that's your arm.
Yep.
You can't do anything.
And you only have 2 fingers.
Yeah. Whereas I think these guys had 3.
Yeah, in some current artist models of
renditions
of T-Rexes, they just have to say that's where their little stupid wings are. So they're not even like fingers; they're just like stupid little flappy wings on their chest.
Oh, they're little flapping! Oh,
They're little
man.
flappies,
Dinosaurs...
like
they're like big fat shitty birds. I love
Yeah.
them.
Like-
Dinosaurs just get better and better everry year. I don't understand why.
Big ugly ducks.
yeah,
Why?
big giant ducks.
They're trying to jerk off ducks.
Why don't people want dinosaurs to have feathers? They're the worst.
But yeah, I really love the part with the Tyrannosaurs. They're probably my favorite of characters.
In a very small cast.
Yeah, very small cast that doesn't have a lot of screen time.
Which is good. It adds to the movie because the movie is very much like it allows the movie to not have to have room to breathe in this, like to take in the environment, take in specifically Arlo and Spot's relationship, and not have dinosaur society getting in the way.
Yeah. We also see some quote velociraptors who are like rustlers trying to steal the cattle, and they kind of got like a Bubba, like hickey hillbilly.
One of them is named Bubba, and then the lady's named Lurleen. They're like an Amanda Show sketch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's specifically the Amanda Show. You're right. It's weird. It's weird that I agree with you, and that I shouldn't have any reason to. They're like they basically serve the same purpose as like Lion King hyenas.
Yeah.
They're there to get beat up and be creepy.
Well, they put up a pretty good fight. Like, you know,
That's
Butch
true.
was having some trouble getting them off of him. And then Arlo was awesome and just fucking, like, kicked it.
I was expecting, like, I'm gonna need to go back and watch to see if there was any direct comparisons. If they didn't, then they should have just had the Velociraptors gang up on the big Sam Elliott T-Rex and just shot for shot do the last scene with the T-Rex and the Raptors in Jurassic Park when they're fighting.
It seemed like that, because all of them teamed up at Butch at the end, and until Arlo broke it up, and then Butch grabbed them all in his mouth and, like, did the momentum twirl, and didn't he just, like, throw them?
He just threw them.
He
He's a good.
lobbed them.
He's a good guy, so he didn't just eat him.
Yeah, he could have just ate him.
At several times he had, like, 2 of them in his jaws. He could have just bit them in half right then.
One of them was John Ratzenberger's role for this movie.
Ah, of course.
There's Bubba, Lurleen, Purvis, and Earl. And Ratzenberger was Earl.
Purvis.
That's like
it's a boy! Little baby Purvis!
That's like one of the last names of a character from Archer. Buck's birth was really funny.
Yeah,
Out of the egg, he was just immediately a real piece of shit.
Just hitting everything with a stick. Oh my god. But then, most of the film just consists of Arlo and Spot traveling, and these gorgeous shots. They're so beautiful of the world that they're traveling and them sort of working together and having this kind of symbiotic relationship, because, like, at first I wondered, like, why is Spot being so nice? I mean, obviously he's grateful that Arlo spared his life earlier, but he keeps, like, actively trying to help Arlo, even after Arlo is just like, get the fuck away from me, I don't want your help.
But, like, I mean, like, we have to yell at Gnocchi all the time. It's like, Gnocchi, no me joda!
But it does turn out to be kind of, symbiotic, because, Spot knows how to survive, Arlo doesn't, and Arlo's bigger than Spot, so he protects him. And they're also good buddies. They love each other, they're so cute. They have firefly friends.
Yeah.
And blowing on fireflies.
I thought that part where he caught it, he was gonna, like, accidentally kill it and learn about death, and I'm like, that's too much Grave the Firefly symmetry you're just taking.
No, I'm sure he understands death, considering he killed that giant beetle.
Yeah. And also his parents.
Which
we learned shortly afterwards.
Oh, that was so sad.
And, yeah, the part where the shot zooms in on Arlo and it zooms out again, and he's, like, just petting his arm.
Oh my god, that was so sweet.
Lucy was like, she's like, ah!
It's very dog-like, too, because, like, dogs will comfort you when you're sad. Though they don't necessarily know why you're sad, like Spot did, but, like, it was very organic. I don't know, it felt very animal-like, but in a...
Yeah. I really loved how they bridged the line between animal and human. Like, I bet that was really fun to learn how to animate, was like, what if a little boy behaved like a wild animal?
Yeah.
Like,
Middle school?
I mean, there have been cases of feral children, raised...
Yeah.
Without any attention or human interaction.
Yeah, so I wonder if they, research some of that, but, like, the way, like, how would they climb a thing? Like, how would they walk? How would they, use their teeth? Because he bites a lot of stuff.
Yeah, he likes to bite. That's his favorite thing.
What's he gonna do? Punch with those tiny arms of his?
His cute little pudgy fingers.
Yeah. He's so fat and stumpy.
Yeah. And his perfect little loincloth diaper.
Yeah, we never see his little baby dick. He even has, like,
cause, like, when we first see him, it's, like, a shot that, like, shows him from the back going towards Arlo, who's backing up, and all I could think was, like, oh, thank God he's got some sort of undercloth under those leaves, otherwise I'd be staring at this child's taint.
He's staring at his Goku.
Though they do make a penis joke with the peeing scene, which is hilarious. It was just like, the face that Spot makes when Arlo looks over is like, what the fuck are you doing? Is that
How could you do this to me?
Is that like something that happens like in like urinals? Like if some guy gets caught looking at another guy and you're like...
I know, I think it was more of a dog thing. Because, like, dogs have shame about... Like, if you ever looked in Gnocchi's eyes as she's pooping...
Yeah,
she hates it.
She really does. She's like, why are you looking at me? And, like... And she does this thing where she likes to follow us to the bathroom, but she'll, like, turn her back to us while we're going to the bathroom and sort of look over her shoulder and be like, no, I'm not looking! But I want to still make sure you're there. But no, I'm not looking. And it's like, Gnocchi, just get out of here.
I need to make sure you're okay. I don't know. That's the scariest room. That's where bats happen. We love our dog.
We do. And, we have our sort of emotion. We have our, like, action climax, which sort of serves as, like...
Where it's Arlo conquering the storm, what killed his father.
And his fears, just in general, that he's always had. And then we have an emotional climax with when they're just about to reach the farm, and we see that there's another human. And they try to make contact, but Arlo's like, no, my spot. No.
Yeah, the first time it's my, Spot and the human were gonna meet, and it's like, no, don't leave me, I'm selfish, don't leave me. And then later he's like, okay, yeah, go see what happens. And then they hang out for a bit, they touch heads and shit. And then Spot's like, okay, Arlo, let's go.
Yeah.
And Arlo's like, no, Butterfree! You have to be with the other Butterfree!
Oh, and it was so cute. It was like a different species of human. Like, they all had white hair, even the children, which was kind of different. I guess they were like silver wolves or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alternately, instead of every goddamn episode of Pokemon, he's talking to Arlo, it's like, just get out of here, you stupid dumb animal!
Yeah. I'm really glad they didn't go that route, because I hate that cliche when the owner's trying to get rid of the animal for his own good, and they have to be mean to it because they don't get it. And I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
keep it then if it wants to be with that bad stupid.
I would put that. Although just when we're being honest and talking about SpongeBob, I would put that in easily my top 10. That episode with Mystery the Seahorse.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spot is smart. He understood because Arlo drew the circle thing, and Spot got it. He was like, I understand what you're saying. And he was happy.
Oh, these are my sticks. I get it.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought we were playing with sticks.
Yeah.
I like sticks. I'm a dog.
I didn't like those 2 sticks, though, so I buried them in the ground. And I was really sad that I could only find 1 good stick I liked. I wanted 3.
And it was really sweet that, the family accepted him immediately. Because, I had one friend that was like, what? That's another mouth to feed.
Yeah.
Don't take in that kid. And it's I don't know, there is... Sometimes animals do have compassion for others of their kind, or even others that aren't of their kind. They just sort of take care.
Especially dogs. Yeah. Dogs will take care of any baby, if they're a cool dog. Baby ducks, baby cats, raccoon,
baby deer, babies, just anything.
I think, what it is with dogs, is that dogs already look so different from each other, that's well, if that's a dog, that might as well be a dog. And actually, what I understand about dog psychology is that, any, familial member, anything that they consider part of their pack, they literally think of as just a weird dog. The humans that a dog lives with, it thinks that they're weird dogs. Yeah. Weird, broken dogs.
And when they're, being pet by you and they're stuff yeah! Good, weird, broken dog. You're the best. It's a very, give and take, similar sort of way of viewing each other. I don't know. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. And I would have been. I'm glad it worked out that way because it would have been kind of weird if he just came home with Spot and this is our pet.
What?
He indirectly led to our father's death, but it's cool now.
It was mostly my fault though.
Are we still cool?
Because I didn't kill him.
The dog stays?
Oh, the mom. The mom, after the dad died, the mom, got really, she couldn't even stand up. There was a scene where she fell over and Arlo had to help her.
Corn is heavy.
And then...
Yeah, it was a combination of her being despondent and her overworking herself. Partially, I think, as a result of the despondency, but also because, if we don't do this, the strongest guy died, and we need to eat the corn.
And, Arlo was like, don't worry, Mom, I'll help you. And then Arlo disappears. So I was we finally see this mom again. And she's, bending at the knee, walking slowly like an old person. She's gonna die any moment. And
yeah, I was so, I didn't know how, I knew narratively there wouldn't be a good way to do this and not just have it be the worst thing. But I was like, what, this mom's gonna die before he fucking gets home.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my god.
And that part where she mistook him for the dad was actually... That was a whole symbolism of the movie in one word.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good writing. You became
your cool dad. Hooray, you're a man.
Yeah, because if you notice, he was standing upright. He had, his posture was different. He was always a little slumpy little moron before.
Well, that's actually how an apatosaur stands up.
Slumpy or straight?
Slumpy. The straight is more like a,
Giraffe?
Yeah. like that more giraffe neck is a different species of what are these things called? Pterosaurs?
No, pterosaurs are the winged ones.
No,
sauropods.
Sauropods. It's a different kind of sauropod.
Which I think just means lizard foot.
It's something like that. I don't know.
It like no Bronchos.
Like Brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus are the same animal.
Not according to Wikipedia.
No, it wasn't Brontosaurus.
Yeah. Well, no. Brontosaurus and Brachiosaurus were the two that ended up being the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus.
No,
I was confused. Yeah, I know Brontosaurus isn't real.
Yeah.
I thought it was Brachiosaur that wasn't real. Although I guess if they're the same, they just had to pick a name.
And Brontosaurus is better. Because it means Tunda lizard.
Tunda lizard. I don't know. I mean,
if we're wrong about that, don't tell us. It's fine.
It's okay.
That's not...
I can accept that I won't know everything.
I know one of those dinosaurs is fake.
Brontosaurus is the real one.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that used to not be the case. I think maybe that changed.
Wait, they each had their own fucking article because, I don't know.
Maybe what happened is that maybe there was another discovery.
Maybe
they gave that name to a different one because they didn't feel like coming up with one.
Yeah, sauropods seem to each have their own unique, like, neck slouch posture.
This one has ridiculous tiny little legs. This one's has the body of a goat and then a big old neck. But yeah, yeah, so even if they didn't have the upright neck thing, like, it definitely communicates a lot.
Yeah, that he, he's like, has more confidence and...
He's a man now.
He's a man now. And I thought it was kind of... I liked how it ended, too. Like, I like how it didn't drag out this reunion. It was just like, he came back, everybody was happy to see him, he put his mark. That was the last screen of the film was over, It
and
was
then
a very
it was like,
simple...
we spent so much money on these landscapes, look at them again, goddammit.
Yeah,
I walked out of the theater and, like, no one else was leaving.
Yeah.
I felt awkward. I wonder if, like, we're just so conditioned with the fucking Hollywood summer blockbuster bullshit that everybody just assumes that there's something at the end of every goddamn movie.
I always pull my phone out and check, and it said none, so I left after it showed the voices. Apparently there's just, like, a thank you message at the end, which is not a stinger.
Yeah.
Pixar has never done stingers, I don't think.
No, they always do, like, mid-roll stuff in the credits, and they'll start it super early so you know.
Yeah.
I don't know, I loved it because the scenery was just so gorgeous, and it was just nice to see it, and it was really pretty. And I liked it because, it's a simple story, it knew what it wanted to tell, it didn't overstep its bounds, it was just like... Here's the scope, and we're gonna keep it at that scope, and I like it. I like that they didn't sort of, like, draw out, like, the reunion, and the family, and the blah blah.
Or even the world build, like, this movie could have been overburdened with unnecessary world building.
This movie could have been Cars: Dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that sounds like that's the direction they wanted to go initially, and then they had the good sense to go, oh, wait, guys,
Cars sucks.
This is dumb. Cars sucked. Or, like, they look around for John. Cars sucked.
Yeah, like, nobody who's over the age of 9 or John Lasseter likes Cars.
Just literally no one.
Yeah. Oh, boy. This film did have a opening bit with the director, which was something Pixar had never done.
What?
In my screening... Before the film even started, it was just a little bit with Peter Sohn, the director, thanking people for watching the movie and sort of explaining, like, part of what he wanted to do with the movie, where Peter Sohn is...
We did not get that. Or I didn't get that.
Yeah. He's the kid of Korean immigrants, and he was saying that, like, the kind of movies he used to love when he was growing up, and the ones that meant the most to him were the ones where he didn't have to explain to his mother, who's learning English, what was happening. And he cited the scene in Dumbo where the mom and Dumbo reunite in, like, the baby mind scene. And,
you mean the saddest scene in animation?
Yeah, he cited that scene and was like, that was a really powerful moment for me and my mom because I didn't have to explain to her what was going on. She knew. And for me... For him, it captured the power of filmmaking, and that's what he wanted to do. And, he thanked everybody for coming to see the movie, and he hoped everyone enjoyed it, and it was actually a really cute little thing. And so, like, having that in mind, and then going into the scene with Arlo and Spot by the riverside with the sticks and the circles, it was like, okay, that was what he was trying to recreate, that kind of magic. But honestly, it was happening all throughout the film between the two characters. So that was very interesting. I don't know why I got it and you guys didn't get it, because I thought it was really odd at first. It was like, hello, I'm Peter Stone, I'm the director. And I was like, huh? This isn't a Ghibli movie, and you're not John Lasseter. Like, what are you talking about? But, you know, he gave this really cute story, and it was really sweet, and then, though it was interesting that
maybe they played that at the end for our screenings, and we walked out.
Maybe they put that at the end for you guys, but we got it in the very beginning.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they put it at the... I don't know.
Yeah. One thing that was weird about the reunion is, like, they run at each other, and I'm like, wait a minute, these guys are quadrupeds. They can't hug.
They bump heads. They nuzzle.
Yeah, they nuzzle, but I thought, are they just gonna smash into each other?
They nuzzle.
Like
that's
goats?
How I greet some of my friends, just careen into them.
That was a bit we used to do in middle school that we called no breaks, where you would just scream no breaks and run it into somebody.
Oh.
I think that's what the anime community called glomping, at least in the early 2000s.
Oh,
I think it's more of a con. Convention.
Yeah, that's a con thing that you do. That has no... I don't think that... I've never...
Yeah.
Like, people who like anime that are the worst that go to the cons and do it, like, that's their thing. I've never in direct relation to Japanese animation have I heard...
No, I think it's just for people... who don't get out enough.
No, and they don't know how personal space works because they have their personal space just be their room all the time.
Yeah. That's a goof that actually I wish they could have done with Ramsey, talking about her bubble. Like, this is my bubble, but her arms are too small. This is a small bubble. But instead he just wrestles her.
It was
I thought that was going to be Bobby Tisdale, the guy who plays Zeke on Bob's Burgers. It's not.
No.
Anybody can do that voice.
Yeah.
I'm doing that voice right now. You just talk all slow like an idiot.
Come on, let's wrestle. Come on, get you.
Come on, Jeju.
Jeju.
Man,
come on, Jeju.
Man, Zeke wants to kiss Jeju so much. I don't think he knows it, though.
He has no idea. And that's the best
he's like
part.
Dave.
It's so innocent.
He's like Dave from Harvey, where, like, they doesn't realize how much they completely love the guy. But they definitely do.
It's the best, because kids are stupid. They don't know.
It's like, Zeke, stop, you're actually hurting me. Anyway.
I think that's all we have to say about this movie.
I think this movie is going to be their next Monsters, Inc., and that a lot of people are going to be like, that one wasn't all that good, and then people who are smart will be like, no, that was actually a lot better than people give it credit for.
When this hits digital release, there's going to be some gift sets of the choice scenes on Tumblr.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, certainly it didn't have the narrative groundbreaking of, like, the Pixar's cream, but I would put this on the same level of, like, Incredibles.
Yeah. Really?
I mean,
I gotta dwell on it, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to compare it to, honestly, because...
And I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's actually very different for Pixar, because it's something that's almost entirely emotional. There's very little storytelling going on. Like, obviously they're all very emotional, but a lot of them have an interesting story hook. Or they're telling, like, what is actually a pretty basic classical story through a new lens. Whereas this lens isn't new enough to really separate it from Boy and His Dog.
Yeah, like,
because they downsized the whole dinosaur society thing.
Yeah. I think what they did was, like, they took a lot of familiar concepts but meshed them together to make something wholly original, and I just think that, like, it's interesting, but I think a lot of people will overlook it because it's like, oh, it's fucking dinosaurs, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh,
and it came out the same year as Inside Out, and I mean, it is nowhere near as good as Inside Out is. Inside Out is fucking stellar, and you know this movie, even from the jump, couldn't compete with that.
Yeah, but I like how it's so different from Inside Out.
Yeah, it's I think it's like for people who are like who are into like following Pixar and like know what they're doing and like, oh, is this one good? How is this one compared to the last one? Like, this is worth your time. Absolutely, this is worth your time.
Yeah, and I'm really worried it's going to underperform.
I mean, dude, like, there's my theater right now. There was only like 3 showings.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much has it made?
I mean, part of that is that, you know, Star Wars is also this month.
Yeah.
But it's been out for a while. It took us forever to actually get to the theater to see this movie. And part of the thing is because, you know, a lot of the buzz about this movie...
It still hasn't broken its budget yet.
It's close.
It's close, but...
Well, comparatively, it's $10 million.
Yeah, and also, for these films to actually be profitable, they have to sort of do more than break their budget.
Which obviously they always do by the time they get to home release and
then home release makes them even more.
Yeah, home release and international. Because that's actually the thing.
Especially for children's media, home release is important.
Home release, and also a movie like this, which isn't very dialogue driven, is going to do great internationally.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what's a movie that I saw last time I was in Colombia, dubbed in Spanish, no subtitles whatsoever, had to just wing it the whole time, that worked pretty well, was Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
And again, it had that similar, like, animal-human relationship thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah, the main character is just... It's just a no-talking monkey man.
Yeah. So yeah.
And I don't have to hear James Franco actually talk.
That's always nice.